Greetings, welcome. I'm Dr. Jamel D. Carter, the president and CEO of Kayannus Consulting Group, a full-service management and educational consulting practice where we assist organizations like yours align human capital with organizational strategy. We have a variety of services available to you and your team, such as executive coaching, human resources and organizational development consulting, market research, intensive boot camps such as nonprofit formation, business growth strategies, grant writing, and fundraising and development. In addition, we offer growth circles. These are intimate groups for leaders to come together for professional development, peer encouragement, and up-to-date best practices. Join a growth circle today. We have circles for CEOs, entrepreneurs, pastors, nonprofit executive directors, and educational leaders. This is your health and education alert for Wednesday, January 5th, 2022, your source for breaking news, information, trends, and commentary, all designed to assist you thrive in both life and career. I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share. Help someone else get this information. In addition, you can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Parler. My handle is at Dr. JD Carter. That is @ DRJD Carter, CARTER. With that said, I'm going to highlight a couple of stories in both health and education that you may have missed on today. The first one is Pfizer and Germany's BioNTech SE will develop an mRNA-based vaccine for viral infection shingles, collaborating for the third time after the success of their COVID-19 vaccine based on the same technology. Pfizer is making equity investment worth $150 million for this deal. As I stated, this is the third time that these two companies have come together. They partnered for influenza vaccine in 2018. We know they came together for the COVID vaccine in 2019. And so one of the things I think is important what we can learn from Pfizer and BioNTech SE is the need for strategic partnerships and alliances. To be successful in business, as well as a nonprofit leader, you have to be able to get on the phone and reach out to someone that's in your peer group, your peer circle, and say, is there a way in which we can work together and create synergy for the long-term health and success of our organizations? It appears that Pfizer has found a partner in BioNTech SC as they are coming together once again on another project. The next story I would like to highlight is a third former GlaxoSmithKline scientist has admitted her guilt in a conspiracy to steal secrets from the company to benefit a company in China. In the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, Lucy Z, 44, filed her plea. She formerly worked on developing antibody drugs for GlaxoSmithKline in their facility in Upper Merion, Pennsylvania. The scheme came to light in 2016 after an FBI probe. I think what our major takeaway is from this story is that corporate espionage is real. You want to be able to protect your research and development, your intellectual properties. We do see that there is corporate raiders and pirates out there that are going to try to capture your intellectual property and data. And I do think that this is something that as leaders, we have to be aware of. Not everyone should have an understanding of our long-term strategy. only those in the know should have access to certain information. So I think that is our major takeaway, that there are some people that can be bought by competitors. So make sure that you're protecting your research, make sure you're protecting your intellectual property and capital. Roche and Simmons at-home tests have gotten an emergency use authorization, and I think this is very critical. As we are well aware, the U.S. is currently facing a shortage in COVID-19 tests. As we're seeing, there are record-breaking numbers of individuals testing positive for COVID, and it appears that there are not enough tests available on the market. These are rapid antigen self-tests. And one of the things that I think is interesting to note, that 82.6 billion has been appropriated for testing as a result of some of the recent legislation that has been passed in terms of funding. With that said, you may be unaware that Walmart and Kroger has raised prices on COVID-19 test kits. I think our major takeaway about this is that testing, vaccinations, all of this is big business. And those companies that spent their time investing in this research and data are doing what they can to make sure that they make as much money as possible from these tests and from these vaccines. And definitely, if you're looking for smart plays, I do think now is the time to invest in the biotech sector, because there are companies that are doing smart things when it comes to managing their money and investing heavily in research and development. By way of education, one of the things that came out over the wire on today is, citing low enrollment, the University of Nebraska at Kearney plans to cut its philosophy major. This recommendation was made by a state board. Students and faculty are fighting to save the program. My major takeaway from this that I think is important that you be aware of, I do think now is the time that colleges and universities need to ensure that they are preparing their students for careers in which there are going to be jobs. And I think we need to be critical in our education sector and make sure that if there are programs that are not generating students, if there are programs that are not generating a pipeline of individuals for careers, I think it's in the best interest of institutions, their long-term health, to cut some of these programs. If there are individuals that would like to study philosophy, there are other institutions that do have philosophy degrees, but I do think that this is a wise decision being recommended by the state board there in Nebraska. The Fashion Institute of Technology is establishing a brand new social justice center. This follows a controversial and racially insensitive fashion show that shook the institution last year after the George Floyd murder. The goals of this center is to propel designers of color into the fashion industry. This will be done by offering scholarships and training opportunities, along with academic and career paths from middle school through graduate education. One of the things I think is important that we're seeing here, I really do think that this is a PR move on part of the Fashion Institute of Technology. Definitely, it was something that they did that was wrong. I do see that there are many institutions investing in inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism policies and procedures, wanting to make sure that all students feel welcome. But I do think that this is good to see that they're putting money where their mouth is. I do feel that there are a lot of institutions, a lot of organizations that just talk, and they're not really investing the resources and the tools to really change their institution from the inside out. You need your students to feel welcome regardless of their nationality, ethnicity, their race. So I do think that this is a wise move on the part of the Fashion Institute of Technology. I will say that if you are a student, if you are a parent, you may want to do your due diligence to make sure that you are going to an institution in which you're going to feel welcome. There are some institutions that want you for the tuition dollars that you can provide, but they do not create a climate in which you will feel welcome, valued, and appreciated. So make sure that if you are a parent, you're doing your due diligence when it comes to preparing your sons, your daughters, your grandchildren for institutions in which they're going to enroll. The University of Pennsylvania law professor Amy Wax has drawn fresh ire from making racist remarks targeting Asians. She wrote, "I think the United States is better off with fewer Asians and less Asian immigrants." In a statement, Penn Law School Dean Theodore Ruger called Wax remarks anti-intellectual and racist, asserting that her xenophobic and white supremacist views are diametrically opposed to the policies and ethos of this institution. As stated with the previous story, I do think that there are institutions that do not make it easy for students of color to feel welcome. I do think that the statement offered by the dean was a wise statement to make, but I think this may be a little too late because this is not the first offense from this particular professor. Because in 2018, Penn removed Wax from teaching required first-year law classes after she appeared in a video stating that she'd never seen Black students graduate in the top quarter of the class and rarely in the top half, a claim Penn denounced as false, according to the Washington Post. So we see here you have a faculty member out there making horrible statements, and I think her language reflects how she views students, and this is an action that I do commend the dean for addressing, but I do think institutions of higher learning have to do better. We need to create welcoming environments in which students will feel valued and appreciated. I also think as institutions of learning, we do need to create space in which people can share their ideas, even though we can see some ideas are just asinine and horrible. But I will say once again, if you are a parent, if you are a grandparent, if you are a student looking for a place to enroll, you need to do your due diligence to make sure that you're enrolling your student, that your son, your daughter, and you're paying tuition to an institution that you're going to feel welcome. And not only they're going to be there for the acceptance of your tuition dollars, but they're going to be there to create an environment that's going to get you across the stage. It's a sad state of affairs when you have a lot of people that have high levels of educational debt and no certificate or degree to show for it. So I will say once again, make sure you're doing your due diligence when you're enrolling in various institutions of higher learning. There was an article that appeared in Education Week that is reporting on how staffing shortages are hurting students within the K-12 sector that need help or extra help in reading. I do think we have had a lot of districts, a lot of governmental agencies, a lot of universities that have fired and let go staff because of their vaccine mandates. And one of the things that I think we have to acknowledge is that with the retirements that have went on, we have a whole lot of institutions that do not have the staffing levels that will lead to student success. So you are seeing I guess you can say, a body drain from institutions taking place because people are walking away from places of employment. We need to make sure that we are investing in our educational system and putting people back to work so our students can get the knowledge, skills, and abilities to be successful in this world. I do have a couple of inspirational quotes that I would like to read for you today. One comes from Henry Cloud, and he states, "We change our behaviors when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of changing. Consequences give us the pain that motivates us to change." One of the things I will say is that if you're not happy with the way things are currently shaping up in your life, it may be time to change. It may be time to change your actions, your behaviors, your strategy. And change can be difficult, but I can tell you that staying in a rut is more difficult than changing to improve your condition in life. And Kayannus Nin stated, "And the day came when the risk of remaining tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to bloom." And I do think, as all flowers, all roses at some point must bloom, sometimes we as individuals have to take that risk in order to grow. If we're rigid, if we're limiting our thinking, we will never develop into the men and women we are capable of becoming. So take that risk and allow yourself and your mind to bloom. One of the things that I do want to, as I prepare to close out, is just remind you that on your darkest day, God will make a way. So be encouraged. Things always have a way of working out. And if you hold on, my friend, know that if you are a believer, God has a way of sending help your way when you least expect it. Don't tap out. Don't throw in the towel. Be persistent. Be determined. And I tell you, things will turn around. I have a question for you, and I want you to think hard. When was the last time you truly immersed yourself in learning a new skill? Professional development is key to sustained long-term career progression. The Kayannus Consulting Group offers several intensive boot camps on various subjects. Registration is now open for our upcoming boot camps in the following areas: nonprofit formation, business growth strategies, grant writing, and principles of fundraising and advancement. You can register by calling our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, our number, 1-800-418-5350. Strong donor relationships will be critical to the long-term sustainability of your institution. Would your institution be able to benefit from a 20 to 25% increase in support this year? If so, our team of highly skilled fundraising and advancement consultants at the Kayannus Consulting Group can work with your team to assess your systems and assist you in developing strategies that will get you back on track. For a no-fee consultation, please contact our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, that number, 1-800-418-5350. I hope you have found today's alert to be informative, encouraging, and noteworthy. Once again, I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share. Help us get the word out. I pray that the favor of God shines upon you and your organization this week. May clients come to you from the east, the north, the south, and the west. May you and your family continue to go from blessings to greater blessings. Until next time, be blessed.